Hello, engineering problem solvers. ET120, that's Friday. Sorry about Wednesday. I had the critical battery issue that was just not allowing me to make lectures. So, plus I had the election that I was processing. So, yeah, didn't get to it on Wednesday, but now we're back, and we have the problem solved with the critical battery storage. So, um, actually, critical internal storage of the PC. So if you're interested, like for my other class, I actually went through what I did because technical support helped me out. And there's this software called WinDIR Stat, Win Directory Stat. It's free, and it's a kind of a Windows thing that allows you to look at what's using your storage on your PC. And it was super helpful because I could not find the temporary files that were not being deleted, and it was filling the PC. So anyway, we're good to go. I want to talk a little more about graphics. I was trying to wait until you uploaded yours, and there was a few of you that did, so I really appreciate that. And they look really good. Like, nice job. Some of you even said you didn't have like a T square, and some of you don't even have square tables to work with. So this is not easy. It's much easier in lab for me to go through this. Doesn't take near as long either. So apologize for that, but hopefully you like it and you're enjoying it and you're learning drawing layout. That's what we really want to get to. So I'm going to do some example work here just to kind of give you, I did see a few things on the stuff you submitted, but that's because I didn't give you much of a lecture on it. So I'm going to draw a basic object like a 4x4 square. Actually, we'll make it a 4x2 square so it's not so square, rectangle. And then I'll put a hole in it, and then I'll do some dimensioning and just kind of go through things a little slower and just give you the basics. That's what you need so you can produce good drawings. So we're only working with one view because it takes so long to draw all three views by hand. When you get into the softwares, it won't take as long, but you will need to be able to dimension it according to standards. So everything that I'm covering are the standards that are put out by ANSI, American National Standards Institute, ANSI. And there's a standard for everything, as kind of we've discussed about lettering. There's even standards on how to make an A, right? So there are just hundreds of standards on dimensioning. I am just going to cover the basic ones that just will get you going in the right direction and make your drawings look professional and also readable by others, which is what we want. We want to be able to send a drawing to each other and understand all the notations. So, all right, I'm going to close me down and just go to the piece of paper that I have started. And I'm not going to use a T-square because some of you don't have T-squares. So what you do without a T-square is you literally have to measure everything from the edge of the paper. So for every horizontal line, you have to measure up to find those 2 points and then go between. That becomes, problematic. Like if I'm going to draw a 4x2, I have some weird shadows. I'm not sure this will be any better. I don't think it's any better. All right, we're just going to go with this, and you'll have to just get used to the shadows. But if I just have a 4x2 that I'm going to draw, then I have to think about my layout. If I had three views that I was going to draw, then I would have to think about that layout, right? So hopefully it starts to focus. There we go. So without a T-square, you literally have to measure from a horizontal, and from a vertical, you have to measure for every line. So I want my thing kind of right in here, so I'm going to measure up and find a point, and measure up and find a point. So I'm going 1, 2, 3, right? So now I have 2 points, and I can actually make a horizontal line. So without a T-square, that's kind of how you have to go about it, right? So now I'm going to measure up again, and I keep measuring from here for a while. So you can see I'm a little bit off already. I don't have my glasses on, so that's what I'm going to charge. That's what I'm going to claim there that I can't see. Oh gosh, I'm off there too. So yeah, it becomes what you end up with is a lot of what we call overruns. I'm doing this nice and light so I can erase it. Hopefully you can see it. Yeah, it looks like you can. And then I would go with the, so that's 2 inches, right? And then I would go with the 4 inches and just pick a spot. So again, you got to measure over from a vertical. I'll go over 4. I can see this better, so these will be a little more accurate. Once you get your 1, 2, 3, 4, I could have done both, right? I should have done both. Once you get your kind of your boxed layout, 1, 2, 3, 4, all right. Then you can go with, oh, see, you start to lose track of stuff. So as soon as you get it done, you want to erase those extensions. And again, I'm just doing it very light, as if this was going to be my view box, right? That contains the view. Nice and light. Now you can see why I like these pencils, because you can just, right, spin out and you just get more and more. So they're really nice. And they're cheap. They're not expensive. All right. So there's my view box. I didn't get it centered this way very well, but that's all right. And I didn't use a T-square. And it looks fairly square with everything. So that's kind of how you're going to roll. Now I'm going to put a hole in and then just do a little bit of dimensioning for this example. So I'm going to come over 1 inch. Again, you have to kind of make a couple marks. So there's my 1 inch line, really light. And then I'm going to come down halfway, and that's where I'm going to put my circle. So again, this is what you'd be pulling off of, out of the book, the dimensions, and that's how we know how to make and measure things. And anytime I draw a line, I try to compare without a T-square. I try to compare and make sure, well, it looks parallel, right? So one of the first things you do with a circle is you want to locate it. Then once you locate it, and I'm going to choose, where's the 7.5? Believe it or not, I can't see it. 3/4 right there. So of course you just line up all these marks, and then again, I'm not darkening anything. I'm just lightly going in. So that is one thing I did see is the drawings were pretty darn good, but I couldn't tell visible lines from center lines from dimensions lines on some of the exercises. So to get a visible line thick, you really have to go thick, right? Super important. All right, so now for dimensioning, let me just go through it again. Let's say I want to locate this hole. So a full position location is going to have both an X and a Y dimension. That's how you locate it. There's a number of strategies to this. Something called baseline, which means maybe this bottom is the base and everything should get pulled off the bottom. And maybe the right edge is the vertical base and everything should get pulled off the right edge. That's a little beyond the scope of what we're doing, but there are concepts there. So I'm going to pull off the bottom, and remember your extension line has a gap. But if you're using a center line, which you can, it does not have a gap. And the center line is a long, a short, and a long. And it always goes past whatever it's marking. So this extension, like if I didn't use it in this direction, oh, that's really difficult. Shadow's terrible. And still terrible. But if I didn't use the center line, then the center mark typically stops out past whatever it is positioning. Like this, I'm not going to use this out here maybe, but it goes out past whatever you're positioning. And it's a short and a long. Now, I'm kind of darkening it because these are thin lines. And it's okay to darken these as you go, right? So then you don't have to go back and make them black. All right, and I know it's supposed to be about a 1/2 inch, so I'm still kind of adjusting to that. I'm actually going to measure it. I think I can fit it all in, right? So since I have no T-square, I'm going to make a couple marks. Doesn't look good for some reason. Oh, yeah, I was off here. All right. Now, again, this is the dimension line. Dimension line holds the text, right? Arrows are long and skinny. Believe it or not, that's a standard, and they're closed. So I don't think I talked about that last time. Very common. And then, of course, the text, I'm actually going to do this freehand. So I'm going to find a horizontal here and just slide it up. The text has to have guidelines, right? So there's that, and I'm going to actually measure for my dimension height at 0.125. That's right in there somewhere. And then now I'm just looking at parallel, like these two are just parallel, right? Again, I don't have a T-square, so that's what I'm going to do. Now, notice that this text is horizontal. And what is this, 1 inch? 1.00. And I'm not going to put the unit on because the unit would be down here in the title block. All right, so mechanical is unidirectional, meaning all text is this direction. Architectural, which we're not doing right now, then this can flip, and that's called bidirectional, where you have some vertical and horizontal text. So right now, we're going to do unidirectional, one direction, meaning we don't have to like turn our head to read all this, okay? Extension lines, just like this, extend to whatever they're marking. They go all the way to it. So if there was a geometry in here, a slot or something, see if I can quickly draw a slot. Again, I'm just eyeballing my parallelism, which if you're careful, this could actually work, right? So I find a vertical, go to it, and I try and just slide over. Yeah. All right. So let's say that's a geometry and I want to dimension that. That's called an overrun, and we don't want them. Nothing is darkened yet. Nothing is darkened yet. But the dimension line, right, to locate this or to dimension it, I'll just size it right now. Again, I'm just trying to find vertical here by eye, which is never great. But the extension line goes all the way to it with a gap. Extension line all the way to it with a gap. Why is this important? It's because we want all the drawings to look the same. In engineering, when an engineer gets a drawing, we want it to look like something they would understand or create themselves. That's why we have standards. All right, 1/2 inch away for that dimension. And this is what kind of dimension? Is this a size dimension? Or is this a position dimension? I think I can get it in here. So I'm going to just do short little lines. It's about as close as I can get, though. All right? This is definitely a size dimension. And then I would put my guidelines down, measuring my text height. And then being able to put text on. Let's see what I ended up here. Ooh, 1.1. All right. Notice the extension line goes right past and right through things to get to whatever it's dimensioning. That needs to be consistent all the way around. These shorter dimensions are closer to the object. The larger dimensions would be then outside of the object. So maybe I'm going to do an overall here. Out there a ways, right? And then the next one is supposed to be 3/8. Again, once you do this a few times, I just mark it up. 0.4. So this would be 0.5 and then 0.4. That should keep me pretty straight there. Yep, looks good. And then I'm going to stagger the text. So I'm going to actually just by hand put that each extension line should go past that dimensional line a little bit. Arrows stay the same size, even though it's a big dimension, right? Notice my text is here though, and now I'm staggering text to here. So I'm not stacking it. That'll kind of get in the way of each other. And these are all just kind of guidelines on distances. So if I didn't measure that, I just kind of eyeballed it. I think this was 4. Is that right? Yeah, 4. All right. As things get tighter, like if I had 3 views, I would be squishing things down. Then you can slide this 1/2 inch in a little and this 1/2 inch in a little bit. Just be consistent all the way around. That's what all I care about, is that it has some kind of feel to it of consistency, and that's going to lend itself to be a more accurate, more professional drawing. Now, darkening. These are dark. They're nice and black, right? These are supposed to be thicker than these. Hidden lines are thin, center lines are thin, extension lines are thin, dimension lines are thin. Visible edges of the object, thick, 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 thick. Now, to get it thick with this kind of a pencil, you're going to do a line just like you did for the dimensions. Notice I go over it a few times because I want it black. But then you're going to slide your straight edge and you're going to go again. So that's at least double, and maybe again. That's triple. And I can clearly see the difference between that thickness and that thickness. That's all I'm looking for. The object should jump out at you like, oh, those are visible edges, no question. It just takes time to get them out thick, but that's what we're looking for, and I'd even clean up that corner, right? So this would be thick, 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 and of course your circle template. You can make that thick by angle. So I'll go like that, right? I think I need lead. And then I could like just change the angle a little bit. Circles are definitely harder to make thick. As you do it, you're going to get more graphite and more graphite on your drawing. Don't wipe it. You're just going to smear your graphite, right? Don't blow on it. You're going to just, spit on your drawing. What works well is a towel. You can use a paper towel if you want, and just kind of go like that. It will get dirty, but it'll stay fairly clean. When you lay out your title block, refer to the front cover of your book. Some of you are just throwing in large text, and that's not correct. So on a quiz or something, I'm going to expect you to look at this title block and make it the correct size. And it says the text should be 3/8, right? Oh, excuse me, it says the box should be 3/8, but the text should be 0.12, 1/8 inch. So that's what I'm looking for. And these kind of spacings, lay that out, okay? Don't just throw big text in there, because that's not to a standard, and we're trying to draw to a standard. All right, let's see if I have anything else for you. I don't think so. Nice job, everybody. You'll have another assignment, and I'll put that up shortly. So take care of yourself. Get outside, go for a walk, enjoy your weekend. No quiz. We'll slide that off till like maybe Wednesday. My other class is having a quiz on Monday, so I don't want to double you up. So Good job. We'll only do this, another couple exercises just to get the feel for it and make sure everybody's got the basics down, and then we're going to move on. So, all right, take care of yourself.